Jarvan currently stands as one of the most useful and powerful junglers in the game. His greatest strengths in the jungle are his sheer versatility in both items, builds, and pathing. Plus his ability to gank absolutely anybody and the fact that he amplifies incredibly well with anything. However, he does have the weakness of being of average speed. So there's that weakness that other junglers that are way faster than him can exploit. However, Jarvan amplifies incredibly well, as said previously. So if given the assistance, which is an amplifier, this assistance from the team, he can overcome the enemies who are faster than him and become far more useful. And in fact, he counters several of those fast junglers. One of the biggest concerns for some Jarvan junglers is that they're worried about early invasions. Well, Jarvan has his flag, so one thing that you can do to subvert the enemy from invading you is to use it for surveillance. It doesn't cost you too much mana, and if you get a leash from your teammates, that's going to make up for the fact that you threw your flag several times. It helps your team out with surveillance. It helps you protect yourself. So the E is a good way to subvert early invasions. Because if they're going to invade you and you can see it coming, and from a good distance so your teammate doesn't have to risk going up to ward, then you'll be able to either take your own jungle the opposite location of the enemy, or invade them in return and take their part of the jungle that they're taking from you. So you can use the flag to subvert the enemy invasions early. That's one way to make the matchup easier on yourself. In this clip, my team was unable to stop Olaf from stealing blue, but I had taken cloth armor and we learned that he took boots. Therefore, he can't stand up to me in a one-on-one duel. So, as a result, I go to his jungle to fight him. Since he has likely not yet taken his red or anything, I thought I'd find him, around his red area, or steal it. So I find him and I nearly crush him. He's nearly dead. Of course, he can't stand up to me. He bought boots, I bought cloth armor. His damage isn't enough to overtake me at the time. And this is a way to subvert being invaded early, is you gank and pressure them. The enemy jungler already is low enough that after I took him down, he can't defend his laner. So I put pressure on his laner, and if the enemy jungler sticks around, you just come up and find him and kill him. And as that result, I end up being able to steal from his jungle. I was able to beat him thanks to my item choice and pathing choice. Another way to make up for being controlled by speed junglers is to gain amplifications from your teammates. First, by a great leash on your buffs and taking both buffs immediately. This is a great boost to your speed, and using that speed you'll be able to avoid Shyvana invading you for any good reason other than taking your small camps, which aren't worth as much as your big camps, and then using that speed you gain to immediately gank a laner, thereby pressuring them and forcing the enemy jungler to do something about it. Since, in this case, Gangplank is dead, it forces Shyvana to come up and try to protect him, thereby wasting her time. While Jarvan amplifies incredibly well with almost anything, he doesn't actually need them. While he amplifies incredibly well with red and blue, or the position of his teammates or the enemies, or the wards or vision and all that stuff, he doesn't need them. He can do without them. It's just when he has them, his strength amplifies immensely well. He's one of the junglers that amplifies the most. So, controlling your buffs is great, and it would definitely help out your team, but you don't need it. You could pass off those buffs to your teammates easily, even in the first go. Just, you have to remember to take advantage of, the strength your teammates get. Amplification by the team is very useful and very important, and makes him a strong competitor and can help him stand up to fast junglers, which is his weakness temporarily. Later on, he starts crushing them. He has a positive matchup against characters like Mundo, Shyvana, Olaf. Well, Olaf not so much in the beginning, but later on, yes. And he crushes junglers like Nocturne. They are food for him. When it comes to ganking lanes, Jarvan is amongst one of the best junglers in the game to do that, as long as he knows how to properly use his spells. In this case, using your W to start off the gank if you can works out best. it will not only allow you to get in more free hits on the enemy, but it will allow you to position your EQ combo a lot better, and in some cases may force them to use their escapes a lot sooner, specifically because they can't take the damage you'll be getting in for free. And in most cases, it is not a good idea to start off with a gap closer. Depending on how you're ganking, sometimes it's better use your ultimate first or your EQ combo, or simply just walk up to them. Your ultimate is either used on characters who are very mobile or as a finishing blow. In joke terms, it's called a dunk. In this case, Renekton might escape beyond my range and I don't want to use my flash, so I use my ultimate to kill him, trapping him and getting the last few hits in. So it can be used as a finisher if your other abilities are on cooldown and you need a big gap closer that's also a nuke. And Jarvan can gank in any way possible, from side ganks to direct ganks to lane ganks to whatever. He can gank in every single form, and he's one of the better turret divers. Since his gap closer work is in combination with his crowd control, he's able to juke the turret and avoid them from circling around. And as I said again, great at direct ganks. He amplifies well with his teammates' help. He is able to avoid most wards thanks to his EQ being able to go over walls. And simply put, Jarvan can gank anyone even if they have escapes. Jarvan's matchups versus other junglers is pretty average with most. It's about even with most junglers, slight advantage over some, slight disadvantage over others. So what he does to subvert a lot of this is take use of amplifiers. Any negative matchup he might have becomes positive for him if he has the right amplification. Any matchup that he's just average with becomes even more disgusting if he is amplified when it comes to dueling or whatever. When it comes to fighting junglers or characters that are mobility based, he can just lock them out and have his teammates tear them to pieces while he takes whatever damage they're doing. It doesn't matter. He's a man. So when it comes to countering junglers like Shyvana, Mundo, or Olaf, or anyone who doesn't take flash or has escapes, he can pin them down and keep them away from his teammates. And that is how Jarvan counters them.